Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to talk to you about a vital skill that can transform the way you live your life, how to say no and handle toxic people like a pro. In a world full of demands and distractions, your peace and well-being depend on your ability to set boundaries. But let's be honest, saying no isn't always easy. Sometimes we fear rejection, guilt, or confrontation. But I'm here to remind you that your yes is only as powerful as your ability to say no when necessary. Today, I want to talk to you about a vital skill that can transform the way you navigate through life, the art of saying no and handling toxic people like a pro. In a world filled with constant demands, distractions, and sometimes negative influences, your ability to set boundaries is not just a matter of preference. It's a necessity for your peace, your growth, and your overall well-being. Many of us struggle with the fear of rejection or the guilt of letting others down. I'm here to remind you that saying no is an act of self-love and self-respect. When you learn to say no confidently, you reclaim your power and create space for the things and people that truly matter. Understanding the power of no is the first step. Saying no does not make you selfish or unkind, it makes you wise. It's a declaration that your energy, your time, and your mental health are valuable. When you recognize this, you start to see that your boundaries are not walls meant to keep people out, but gates that protect your peace. It's about honoring your worth enough to prioritize your needs without feeling guilty or apologetic. Toxic people often thrive on your willingness to please and your reluctance to set boundaries. They may manipulate, guilt trip, or push until you feel overwhelmed or exhausted. That's why it's essential to identify toxic behaviors early, whether it's constant negativity, disrespect, some manipulation, or controlling tendencies, so you can respond appropriately. Having the courage to say no requires confidence and clarity. Practice makes perfect, and rehearsing your responses can help you feel more prepared when real situations arise. Use I statements to communicate how certain behaviors affect you without attacking or blaming others. For example, I need to prioritize my well-being right now, or I'm not able to take on that responsibility. This not only affirms your boundaries, but also fosters honesty and respect. Limit your interactions with toxic individuals when possible, and surround yourself with positive influences who uplift and support your boundaries. Remember, your calm and firm demeanor can disarm negativity and demonstrate strength without confrontation. Building confidence in your ability to say no is a journey. Every time you do it, you reinforce your self-worth. Don't shy away from practicing, because with each step, you become more masterful at protecting yourself. Your boundaries are not just about keeping negativity out. They're about creating a space where you can flourish. When you handle toxic people like a pro, you're not only freeing yourself from their influence, but also inspiring others to stand up for themselves. Your life is too precious to be spent in the shadows of toxicity. Embrace your power, speak your truth, and walk confidently in your boundaries. Today, I want to speak to you about a powerful truth that can change the course of your life. The importance of saying no and mastering the art of handling toxic people with grace and confidence. In a world that constantly pulls us in different directions, many of us find ourselves trapped in cycles of pleasing others at the expense of our own peace. But let me remind you that your boundaries are not just boundaries. They are your protection, your sanctuary. Saying no is an act of self-care, a declaration that your mental health and emotional well-being come first. It's about recognizing that your time and energy are valuable commodities, and you have the right to guard them fiercely. When you learn to say no without guilt, you're taking back control of your life, your peace, and your happiness. Many times, toxic people thrive because we hesitate to set boundaries. They may manipulate, guilt trip, or pressure us into doing things that drain us or make us uncomfortable. Recognizing toxic behaviors is crucial because not everyone who challenges you or questions your limits is toxic. Patterns like disrespect, manipulation, or constant negativity are red flags. Once you identify these signs, you can respond with clarity and confidence. Saying no doesn't have to be confrontational. It can be a calm, firm statement that affirms your boundaries. Practice makes perfect. Rehearsing how you might respond in advance can help you feel more empowered when real situations arise. Use simple, direct language like, I can't do that right now, or I need to focus on myself today. By doing so, you communicate your limits clearly without feeling guilty or over-apologizing. Building confidence in your ability to say no is essential because it's a skill that grows stronger the more you exercise it. Remember, every time you stand firm, you're not only protecting yourself, but also setting an example for others. When toxic individuals see your strength and clarity, They are less likely to push boundaries or manipulate. Maintaining a composed demeanor when declining demands or negative influences demonstrates that your peace is a priority. Limit your interactions with toxic people when possible, and surround yourself with those who uplift and respect your boundaries. Your life is too precious to be spent accommodating others at the expense of your happiness. Embrace your right to say no as a gift you give yourself, because in doing so, you're affirming your worth and paving the way for healthier, more fulfilling relationships. In today's fast-paced and often demanding world, mastering the skill of saying no and effectively dealing with toxic people is more crucial than ever. Many individuals struggle with feelings of guilt or fear when it comes to setting boundaries, but understanding that your well-being should always come first is a vital step toward personal empowerment. Saying no is not about being difficult or unkind. It's about respecting your own limits and recognizing that your time, energy, and emotional health are precious. When you learn to say no confidently, you create space for healthier relationships and more meaningful pursuits. It allows you to prioritize what truly matters, whether that's your mental health, your goals, or your peace of mind. Remember, every time you say no to something that drains you or harms your well-being, you are making a conscious choice to protect yourself and nurture your growth. Toxic people often thrive on your inability or unwillingness to set boundaries. They may manipulate, guilt trip, or push you into doing things that are uncomfortable or draining. Recognizing toxic behaviors is essential because it helps you respond appropriately and avoid falling into their traps. Toxic individuals tend to dismiss your feelings, disregard your boundaries, or constantly seek to control or undermine your confidence. When you identify these patterns early, you can respond with clarity, calmness, and firmness. Practice polite but assertive responses like, "I appreciate your concern, but I need to focus on myself right now," or "That's not something I'm comfortable with." Such responses communicate your boundaries without escalating conflict. Over time, these boundaries become stronger and more natural, empowering you to maintain your peace even in difficult interactions. Building resilience against toxic influences also involves surrounding yourself with positive, supportive people who respect your boundaries. The company you keep significantly impacts your mental and emotional health. Spend time with those who uplift you, listen to your concerns, and respect your limits. Limit interactions with toxic individuals when possible, and don't hesitate to distance yourself from ongoing negativity. Confidence in your ability to say no grows with practice and experience. Every time you stand firm, you reinforce your self-worth and show yourself that your needs are valid. When you handle toxic people like a pro, you're not only protecting yourself, but also demonstrating to others that healthy boundaries are essential. Your life deserves to be lived in a way that honors your happiness, health, and authenticity. Embrace the power of saying no, and watch how your relationships and your sense of self flourish. Learning to say no is an essential skill that can dramatically improve your mental health and overall well-being. Many people find it difficult to refuse requests or set boundaries because they fear disappointing others or facing conflict. However, understanding that your time and energy are limited and valuable is the first step toward asserting yourself. Saying no allows you to prioritize your needs and focus on what truly matters to you. It's not about being selfish, but about maintaining balance and preserving your peace. When you practice saying no, you create space for more meaningful pursuits, healthier relationships, and personal growth. Over time, you will become more comfortable and confident in your ability to decline things that do not serve your best interests, which ultimately leads to a more fulfilling and less stressful life. Toxic people often exploit your inability or reluctance to set boundaries, which can lead to feelings of exhaustion, resentment, or even harm to your self-esteem. Recognizing toxic behaviors is crucial because they tend to manipulate, guilt trips, or undermine your confidence. These individuals may constantly demand your attention, criticize your choices, or dismiss your feelings, all with the intention of controlling or wearing you down. When faced with such behavior, it's important to respond with calm assertiveness. You can politely but firmly communicate your boundaries by saying, "I'm not comfortable with that," or "I need to step back from this situation." Consistency is key. The more you practice standing your ground, the easier it becomes to handle toxic interactions without feeling guilty or overwhelmed. Building resilience against toxic influences involves cultivating self-awareness and surrounding yourself with positive, supportive people. Choose relationships that uplift and respect your boundaries, and don't hesitate to distance yourself from negativity when necessary. Remember that your well-being should never be compromised for the sake of pleasing others. Strengthening your ability to say no also boosts your confidence and sense of self-worth. Every time you assert your boundaries, you reinforce your right to live authentically and comfortably. It's a process that requires patience and practice, but the rewards are immense. Greater peace of mind, healthier relationships, and a stronger sense of personal empowerment. Ultimately, saying no is an act of self-respect that allows you to live a life aligned with your values and priorities, free from undue influence or toxicity. Mastering the art of saying no is crucial for maintaining mental and emotional health, especially in a world that often encourages people to be constantly available or accommodating. Many individuals struggle with feelings of guilt or fear of rejection when they consider turning down requests. But understanding that setting boundaries is a sign of self-respect can empower you to act more confidently. Saying no is not about rejecting others, but about honoring your own needs and limitations. When you become comfortable with declining things that do not serve your best interests, you create space for more meaningful activities, relationships, and personal growth. As you practice, you'll find that your ability to say no becomes more natural, helping you to reduce stress and avoid burnout while fostering a sense of control over your life. Dealing with toxic people requires a keen awareness of their manipulative tendencies and a firm resolve to protect your boundaries. Toxic individuals often thrive on guilt, blame, or emotional manipulation, making it difficult to stand your ground. Recognizing these patterns early is vital because it allows you to respond with clarity and assertiveness. Responding calmly but firmly, such as with statements like, saying, "I need to prioritize my well-being right now," or "I'm not comfortable with that," can help you maintain your boundaries without escalating conflict. Consistent practice in setting limits with toxic people gradually diminishes their influence over your emotional state, and over time, you'll become more adept at handling such interactions without feeling guilty or overwhelmed. Building resilience against toxic influences also involves cultivating a supportive environment by surrounding yourself with positive, respectful people. These individuals should uplift you, listen to your concerns, and honor your boundaries. Conversely, distancing yourself from toxic relationships when necessary is an act of self-care that reinforces your boundaries and self-worth. Developing the confidence to say no to toxic behaviors or requests not only protects your mental health, but also signals to others that your well-being is a priority. Every successful boundary you establish strengthens your sense of self and makes it easier to navigate future challenges. Remember, living authentically and respecting your limits are essential for a balanced and fulfilling life, and practicing the art of saying no is a vital step toward that goal. Learning to say no effectively is a vital skill that can significantly impact your personal happiness and mental health. Many people struggle with guilt or fear of disappointing others when they consider turning down requests, but recognizing that your time and energy are finite helps to shift this perspective. Saying no is not an act of selfishness, but an assertion of your boundaries and priorities. When you accept that you cannot do everything or please everyone, you free yourself to focus on what truly matters to you. Developing this skill requires practice and self-awareness, but over time, it becomes a natural part of maintaining a healthy balance between your needs and external demands. By saying no when necessary, you protect your emotional well-being and create space for activities and relationships that genuinely nourish you. Toxic individuals can often exploit your reluctance to refuse, leading to feelings of exhaustion, resentment, or diminished self-esteem. These people might manipulate, guilt trip, or undermine your boundaries, making it difficult to stand firm. Recognizing their tactics is crucial because it allows you to respond with calm assertiveness. You might say, "I appreciate the offer, but I need to pass this time," or "That's not something I'm comfortable with." Consistency in these responses reinforces your boundaries and gradually diminishes the toxic influence over your life. Remember, it's okay to prioritize your well-being even if it means disappointing someone temporarily. Over time, this confidence grows, and setting limits becomes easier and more natural. Building resilience involves cultivating self-awareness and surrounding yourself with supportive people who respect your boundaries. Positive relationships can serve as a foundation for practicing saying no, as they affirm your worth and encourage honesty. Conversely, distancing yourself from toxic relationships is often necessary for your mental health. When you consistently practice saying no, You send a clear message that your needs matter, which boosts your self-esteem and sense of autonomy. It's important to understand that every time you refuse something that doesn't align with your values or capacity, you reinforce your right to live authentically. This ongoing process strengthens your ability to handle future challenges with confidence and grace, ultimately leading to a more balanced, fulfilling life where your boundaries are respected and your well-being prioritized. Mastering the ability to say no is essential for maintaining mental clarity and emotional health. Many individuals feel compelled to agree to every request out of politeness, fear of rejection, or desire to please others, but overcommitting can lead to stress, burnout, and resentment. Recognizing that your time and energy are limited resources is the first step toward healthier boundaries. Saying no often requires courage, especially when faced with pressure or guilt, but understanding that your needs are valid empowers you to prioritize self-care. When you learn to decline requests politely but firmly, so you preserve your well-being and create space for activities and relationships that truly align with your values and goals. Dealing with toxic people presents a unique challenge because they often exploit your reluctance to refuse. These individuals might manipulate emotions, guilt trip, or undermine your boundaries to get what they want. The key to managing these interactions is cultivating self-awareness and practicing assertiveness. Responding with calm, clear statements like, "I won't be able to do that," or "That's not something I'm comfortable with," can help you maintain control. It's important to remember that setting boundaries with toxic people is an act of self-respect, and you don't need to justify your decisions excessively. Consistent boundaries gradually diminish their ability to manipulate you, and over time, your confidence in saying no grows stronger. Building resilience against toxic influences also involves surrounding yourself with supportive, respectful people who reinforce healthy boundaries. These positive relationships remind you of your worth and encourage honest communication. When you regularly practice saying no, it becomes easier to stand your ground in other situations. Distancing yourself from toxic individuals when necessary is a vital part of protecting your mental health. It signals that your well-being is a priority. Every successful boundary you establish reinforces your sense of autonomy and self-respect. Over time, you'll notice that saying no is less intimidating, and you'll feel more empowered to live authentically, free from undue influence or guilt. Balancing assertiveness with compassion allows you to navigate social interactions confidently, fostering healthier relationships and a more fulfilling life.